Ooh, yeah, it looks good, y'all. Well, hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to my little kitchen. On today's video, we're going to be making cornbread dressing. This is my mother's recipe and it always turns out really good. So we're going to see if we can get it together. Alright, I want to share our ingredients that we're going to be using today for our dressing. We're going to be using some poultry seasoning. We're going to be using some sage. We've got some low sodium chicken broth. We're going to be using some onion and some fresh celery. We're going to be using eggs. We've got 2 sticks of butter and we've got a pan of cornbread. Now I cooked this cornbread last night over at my mom's house, and this is 3 packages of yellow cornbread mix, and we just followed the instructions on the back of the package and we got our cornbread cooked. All right, we're gonna take our cornbread and we're just gonna pull it up out here, and we gotta have us a mixing bowl. We're gonna take our cornbread and we're just gonna crumble it up. Just take your hands and crumble it up. All right, we've got our cornbread crumbled up. All right, now we're going to chop up 1.5 cups of onion. Got to do a little chopping. All right, we got us 1.5 cups of onion chopped up. All right, I'm just going to take my 1.5 cups of onions and pour this into a saucer. And we've got cut up 1.5 cups of celery. All right, now we're going to chop up 1.5 cups of celery. All right, we've got 1.5 cups of our celery chopped up. All right, now what we need to do is we're going to take 2 sticks of our unsalted butter, and we're just going to melt that down in our skillet. All right, our 2 sticks of unsalted butter have melted down, so now we're going to add our 1.5 cups of chopped celery and our 1.5 cups of chopped onion. And we are going to cook this down, this onion and celery, until it's nice and tender. All right, our onion and celery is getting cooked down pretty good in this butter here. I think we're fixing to call this good enough. All right, now we're going to take our onions and celery and butter. We're just going to pour them in our crumbled cornbread. All right, now we're going to crack 1 egg, and we're going to put 1 egg in there. 1 egg. All right, we're going to take our chicken broth and we're going to pour about half of this canister in here, and then we're going to do some stirring. All right, we're going to stir this up right here and see what we got going on. All right, guys, we're going to add a little bit more of our chicken broth in here, and we're going to stir a little more. All right, we're going to add a teaspoon of black pepper, a good solid teaspoon. Now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of poultry seasoning, good full teaspoons, 2 teaspoons of poultry seasoning. Just like that right there. All right, now we're going to add 1 teaspoon of sage. Good solid teaspoons. 1 teaspoon of sage. All right, we're going to stir this up good. We're going to add some more chicken broth here in a few minutes too. All right, we got that stirred up pretty good. We're going to add a little bit more of our chicken broth. We're getting there, guys. We're getting to that right consistency. We're going to add a little bit more of our chicken broth. All right, we're going to add another teaspoon of poultry seasoning. We did a little taste test and feel like we need a little bit more poultry seasoning in there, so we're going to add another good teaspoon of poultry seasoning. We're going to add the rest of this carton of our chicken broth. We're going to stir some more. Alright, we did a little taste test there, and that extra teaspoon of poultry seasoning just done the trick. I think we're about right. Alright, now we're going to preheat our oven to 350. Alright, I think we got our dressing about right. We had to add an extra teaspoon of the poultry seasoning, and it tastes pretty good, so we're going to go with that. But that wound up being 3 teaspoons of poultry seasoning. Let's see if we can pour this up. Get it all out of there. Alright, there's our pan of dressing. Alright, our oven is preheated to 350. We're going to put our dressing in there and we're going to let it cook for 30 minutes, and then we're going to check it, see what it looks like. Alright, we're going to boil a couple of eggs. We're going to make our version of some country gravy. This is what we use on our dressing, so we're going to boil a couple of eggs. Alright guys, we've got our eggs boiled. We're going to take them off here and we're going to peel them. There's one egg peeled. Alright guys, we're just going to take our eggs and we're just going to slice them up in kind of thin slices. We're going to put this in our country gravy. Just like that right there. Alright, we've got a can of cream of chicken soup here. We're just going to dump this in our pan here. Alright, we've got our empty can of cream of chicken soup here. We're going to pour some whole milk. We're going to pour a half a can of whole milk. Put that in there with our cream of chicken soup. Now we've added a half a can of just water. We'll put that in there in our cream of chicken soup. We're going to heat that up. Alright, we're going to stir this up. We're going to bring this to a low boil. Alright, our gravy's starting to boil. We're just going to take a little bit of black pepper and we're going to put some pepper in here. Going to stir that pepper up. Alright guys, we got our eggs here. We're going to put our eggs in our gravy. Going to stir them up. Alright guys, I turned the heat off of our gravy here. We're just going to take it off the heat and let it cool, and it should thicken up a little bit. That's going to go really good on that dressing. I wanted to show y'all our country gravy, man. It really turned out well. Alright, it's been 30 minutes. Let's take our dressing out and see how it looks. Looks pretty good. Ooh, yeah, it looks good, y'all. Look at our pretty pan of dressing, guys. Looks like it turned out pretty good. We're going to let that cool off a few minutes and do a little taste test. We're going to put a little gravy on it, too. Alright, guys, we got a little sampling of our dressing here, and we put a little country gravy on it, so let's give it a taste test and see how we come out here. That is excellent dressing, guys. I mean, that is good. All we need is the turkey. Anyway, I hope you'll give this recipe a try. Now, we added 1 more teaspoon of poultry seasoning. We started out with 2. After we kind of got the dressing together, we did a taste test on it. Felt like we needed some more poultry seasoning, so we wound up adding 3 teaspoons of poultry seasoning, and I think we just got it about perfect. Look, the country gravy turned out good. All this is really easy to make. But anyway, I hope you'll give it a try, because it does make a good dressing. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I hope you'll come back and join me again here at the Texas Drifter. Thank you so much. Rotisserie chicken and dressing. It's what's for supper. It's good.